Good morning, Withan.
Morning, Mike.
Good morning again. And here we are with Advanta-STAR. We're having a discussion. Today we're talking about, are we back to selling again, or have we completely eliminated the we're taking orders part of the automobile journey right now?
Yeah, are we back to the deal? We're going to discuss the comeback of old school selling. And
So, over the past several years with the COVID shutdowns and dealer inventory shortages, et cetera, it kind of developed this mindset that we only have so many vehicles. We got to make as much money as we can. So the consumer's going to understand why we're jacking the price up 3, 4, 5 grand, et cetera. So what do you think, Within? Have we gotten away from, just taking orders, or have we worked our way back inventory wise to going back to good old fashioned selling and the like? What say you?
uh, Unfortunately, we're definitely away from order taking. Uh, Most of the dealerships here now have more than enough product. Inventories are actually getting too high at some of the different franchises. And the problem is that instead of going from order taking and $10,000 ADMs, uh, they went directly to how much below invoice can I advertise and how much can I blow out. And so
Yeah,
we've gone from one style of not selling vehicles to another style of not selling vehicles.
yeah. And that's the thing, when COVID hit, nobody knew what was going to happen, and there was just an incredible surge of sales that a lot of folks didn't realize. I remember walking into a dealership in Florida that was one of the largest Toyota retailers in the state, and they had nothing on the ground, literally nothing. And, when you make a visit there, it looked like stadium parking with inventory. And so we talked to the managers in there, and they said, "Oh, we sold 900 units last month." I said, "How did you sell 900 off an empty shelf?" They said, "We sold them prior to them hitting the ground. Everything that was when it got invoiced and we got a shipping order on it, it was pre-sold." And
Yeah,
I
on
said, "Well,
paper, it looked beautiful. I mean, that's been the dream. I mean, I think it was 10 years ago, Ford popped up, and it's always one of the manufacturers pops up and says, we're not going to have dealers stocking cars anymore. We're going to every car is going to be a sold order. But of course, it always ends up, well, people don't want to buy things sight unseen, and you can't sell without inventory.
hmm
But during COVID, people understood that was the only way it was going to be, and so
yeah,
they sold orders only, or as it is with the imports, they sold off of incoming only.
correct." And that used to be the key. I remember again 30, 35 years ago, um, with the Toyota store I worked in, they'd have shipping sheets, you know, taped to the sales manager's window, and it's like, "Is this available? Is this available? It's red, it's blue, it's green. Which one do you want?" And they understood the consumers because that's the only way, the way everybody was selling. So it wasn't just that one Toyota store. Everybody had to fight for the inventory, and you didn't have a whole lot on the ground. But to that point, so the inventories now coming back. One of the terms I hear is value-based selling. And like that plays right into our wheelhouse. Features, benefits, how does it benefit the consumer? Why do they need this particular product? Where does it compare versus others? Because it used to be under COVID, if you have it, it's red. I want blue. I don't have blue, but if you want this one, this is what it is. It's 3, 4, 5 grand over. And if you don't want it, the guy or gal standing behind you will. And so a lot of people bought under duress because they needed a car or felt economically they couldn't wait. And so they bought something they may not have completely fallen in love with or really wanted because of availability. So now you got, like you said, you got inventories that have increased and there is selection. So a lot of these folks are sitting there saying, okay, now I want to buy what I really want. So that goes into brand loyalty. Because a lot of people say, I may have gone in looking at a Toyota, they had none, and I had to, consider maybe a Honda for the first time, maybe a Hyundai for the first time, or Kia, etc. So, but those folks are now finding themselves what, five, $6,000 upside down, and they can't get out
Oh,
of that car.
only if they put 20,000 down.
Yeah. Yeah,
We've
and
seen cases where people are uh, in a basic $30,000 car where people are almost $30,000 upside down.
yeah. And that's unfortunate. And the dealers who chose to do business that way, they felt that they could justify it with the customer, and many the customers did buy into that. But now the reality is they're never going back to that dealer. I mean, because they're
Yeah,
going to feel that guy or gal, stiffed them, and now they're in a untenable position where, like you said, they're 20, 30 grand upside down, and they're stuck in a vehicle that they don't want, and they have no reasonable way of getting rid of it. Um, so, I talked to dealers as well that their strategy during COVID was we're going to do one price selling. It's going to be MSRP. We've been here X number of years. We don't want to take advantage of our customers or the situation. We're in it for the long haul. And it seems like that to me was the better play because they're the ones now that they have inventory, their reputation wasn't sullied in all of this.
and
Uh,
their customers can come back because they aren't 30,000 upside down. So
correct,
they can
correct.
reasonably trade out of a 3-year-old car. I
Yep.
mean, it used to be, people could trade in every 2 years. You know, the price of doing business
Yeah.
has gone up and the depreciation on cars has increased a bit because, when the price goes up and the inventory comes back, the depreciation is going to hit. I mean,
Hmm.
well, the flip side of that was during COVID, we saw used cars coming through the auctions higher than sticker price. And so
Right.
a dealership couldn't be blamed for selling a 2-year-old Civic, for over the original MSRP because he bought it for over the original MSRP at the auction.
Yeah, I mean you make a great point. I mean, back then a 2-year-old car was selling used for, more than a brand new one, and it's because of the scarcity of the new ones.
Yeah,
What I was
because what
yeah,
caused
but
the what caused all the inventory to dry up wasn't that it was being bought up. I mean, it was, but you had an actual shortage. You know, I remember the automotive news article when Ford sent home all of its plant operations workers. Everybody screwing together F-150s went home because either they had to or they were getting sicker every day. And so Ford had to close its plants and send everybody home. And that happened worldwide.
yeah,
Dealer, the plants shut down, but even if the plants didn't shut down, the supply chain, the engine plant shut down or the
yeah,
electronics plant shut down. And so what happens is when you have a huge shortage like that and you can't get, 100 new cars a month like you used to, but then you go to auction and you try to buy cars, but what happens when 100 dealers are trying to buy 5 times as many used cars as before? Yeah,
yeah.
the price soars through the roof. It's simple market
Certainly,
economics.
certainly. And that's what happened too. You have fewer used cars on the market now. And it's this the dynamic is those cars are still bringing big money. What amazed me is, the bank's financing that much overvalue on these used cars at the time. And the scuttlebutt was, well, if Bank A won't, Bank B will. And
And on
so,
the new ones as well. Yeah,
correct,
it seemed
correct,
really it did seem really irresponsible, but again, it was either that or not make any loans at all.
correct. So, they got a lot of water on their portfolio as well. And so now you're looking at the position where, the average price of a new vehicle is over 50 grand now. The average payment on a 60-month contract is over 1,000. So from an affordability standpoint, people are scrambling at the dealer level. How do I get something where most of my customers really aren't in a position to pay, 7, 8, 9% and carry back 1,000 a month to park that vehicle in the driveway?
Right. And just the just the figures of the interest rates are scaring a lot of consumers away.
Correct.
I mean,
Correct.
they saw, 2, 3, 5%, 6%. And you and me were in the business a long time. We remember actually getting people bought at 19%. You,
21 in some
yeah,
cases.
oh,
Yeah, back in the,
absolutely.
I
You go,
remember my
hey, that's
first
a
vehicle.
credit
Yeah.
card interest rate on
Yeah.
that Buick. What's
Yeah.
going on?
Yeah. Again, my first car is 21%. Now that was in the early 80s, when the economy was in a lot different shape than it was prior to COVID,
Yeah,
you
my
know.
first car was 7.7%.
Yeah.
That was a bought special incentive rate. Could you
Yeah.
imagine
Right.
someone
Right.
10 years ago uh, taking a 7.7% auto loan and
Yeah.
as a special incentive?